Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pam and today's video is going to be my top 10 favorite books of 2020. So I did a top 10 of my favorite books of the last year, 2020. It was hard, I struggled, but yeah, I ranked them. That's one of the first time that I've done this. I don't really rank normally my favorite books, but I did it. And I'm quite pleased with my ranking. So yeah, so this year I read 100 books and there were 10 that were absolutely remarkable, and I wanted to talk about those books. You probably heard me talk about those books in my wrap-ups, but I just want this video to be just positive with like favorite books. So let's just get started. So the first one is a trilogy, and it is the Binti Trilogy by Binti Trilogy. I read this summer of 2020. I absolutely loved it. So you have Binti, and The Night Masquerade. I think The Night Masquerade is my favorite one of the bunch, but yeah. I read this I think I read it in 1 month, and I absolutely loved it. This is a story of a young girl who wants to go to this outer space university, so she goes there on the ship, the spaceship where she is, to transport her to this university. There's an attack by terrorists, and we're following her coping with that. And just, yeah, this book is really short, so I don't want to talk too much about the plot, but yeah, this is amazing. You should read it. Nadia Okorafor is an amazing writer. Her writing is beautiful, lyrical. I loved it. At number 9 we have The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. This is a pretty old book. I think it was out in the 90s. Yeah, it was first published in 1995, and boy, did this book aged well, really. This is a middle grade story, and in this world everyone has a demon, so it's a little companion, and this demon takes a animal form. And when you're young, when you're under 13, I think, if I can remember correctly, your demon can change forms, so basically it can shapeshift. But when you're an adult, he is set in one form. And there's bad people. The villain is really cool, really complex. Lara is a amazing main character. I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook is a full cast, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. This was so good. I had so much fun, seriously. And I read it at a time when I was super stressed. In the summer of 2020 was when my cat had this big surgery, so I was super stressed, and this book really helped me, so it's really dear to my heart. Yeah, I absolutely love this book. It's amazing. If you haven't read it yet, please do. It's really good, even for adults. At number 8 is A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. I could also say the third book, Record of a Spaceport View, but A Close and Common Orbit was my favorite of the trilogy, of the series. In this one, we're following a character that was in the first one, Lovelace, an AI, and she's in a new body, and she needs to cope with that and just to learn how this body is working and how this world is working too. And there's different timelines also. We have another character that we learn about our past throughout the entire book. There's another AI character. I love AI characters, okay? I just love them so much when they're done well. I really love AI. And this book was awesome. It was just so beautiful. This is a sci-fi story, but it's not epic sci-fi pew pew in the space. It's not Star Wars, okay? It's not a big battle thing, a big plot. It's more of about the characters and their relationship with one another, and just to learn what it means to be a human and what it means to also be a breathing being And if you haven't started this series, please do. It's so good. At number 7, we have We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is a contemporary story with a little bit of sci-fi and speculatives. Basically, we're following this young boy, this teenager who's been abducted by aliens since he was a young boy. He's been abducted like every couple months or every couple years, and one day he's abducted by the aliens again, and they give him a choice of either destroy Earth or save it, and he needs to take that decision, and it's not an easy one for him. This is a coming of age story. It's absolutely amazing. I felt for that character. His life is not easy, but it's really raw and really true, because there's a lot of people who go through this in their teenage years or in their childhood, and it was just like really heartbreaking. But this story is just absolutely beautiful. This is another story like what it means to be a human. This is an amazing story. If you haven't read it, I think I'm gonna say that for all of those books, but please do. It's wow. And seriously, if you are a contemporary reader and you want to dive more into sci-fi, I think this one is a really, really good introduction. We're talking, yes, about aliens and the outer space, but it's really subtle. It's more of a contemporary with some sci-fi elements, but it's really, really subtle. This was amazing. At number 6, The Calculating Stars by Marie Robinette Kowal. I also picked The Faded Sky because it's the sequel and it's just as amazing as the first one. This is another sci-fi story. Wow, I have so many sci-fi. And in this one, it's set in the 60s in the United States, and it's kind of an alternative story. And this is not a spoiler, but there's a asteroid meteor that crashed into the Earth and wiped out all of Washington, D.C. and the area around it. And because of that, there's a lot of environmental issues that comes with it. So the space race debuts, and it's quick. And basically, they're trying to save humanity and save as many people as they can. And it's the introduction to women in the space agency, and it's really, 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 really good. And yes, the first one is set here on Earth, the second one is not, but so I think this is another good introduction for contemporary readers. This one for more like quiet contemporary, this one for more adult contemporary, because we're following a character. She's in her 20s, and in this one it's still set on Earth, but there's like a sci-fi element, a little bit more specific, especially for like the space agency and NASA, kind of NASA. But I think it would be a good introduction for you adult contemporary readers, and I don't think we talk about this one enough. So it's amazing. Read it. At number 5, we have Girls on the Verge by Sharon Biggs Whaler. In this one, we're following a young girl who wants to get an abortion, but in her state, it's illegal. So she decides to go to another state to get an abortion, but she's a minor, so it's not that easy. And it's about a struggle of, do I tell people? Do I do not tell people? And just her journey to go get an abortion, and how the system is just there to not help you at all, even though it's your body. This book was so impactful for me. I'm a pro-choice person. I think you can do whatever the hell you want with your body. Nobody can say anything about that. It's your body. And it was really heartbreaking, but I think this book is necessary, and I think that everyone should read it, either if you're pro-life or pro-choice, just to see the struggle of how this is not right. This is not okay. Yeah. This book was amazing. At number 4, we have Split Tooth by Tanya Tagaq. This is a book set in Nunavut about a young Inuit girl who gets pregnant, and it's her struggle through all of that because she's shamed by a lot of people, and it's about connecting with nature. This is a really weird book. If you have read it, you know what I'm talking about. But this is beautiful. This book is really short, but really impacted me, and I'm still thinking about it, and it's just, it's so beautiful. I want to reread it. I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook is narrated by the author, and the author's throat singer, so there's throat singing throughout the book, and it's beautiful. It's a piece of art, okay? It's art. It's just beautiful. You should definitely read it. This is weird, but not at the same time. It's weird to explain, but yeah, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Now we enter the top 3. Number 3 and number 2 are books that I read in December. Number 3 is The Death of Mrs. Westway by Ruth Ware. Oh my god. I read 3 Ruth Ware this year in 2020. It was my first time reading her books. I read The Turn of the Key in February, I want to say. I read One by One in October, and I read The Death of Mrs. Westaway in December. And The Death of Mrs. Westaway is my favorite one, and it's just such a good thriller, okay? The twist and the turn, it was amazing. There were a lot of things that I didn't expect, and I was so shocked. I remember I listened to the audiobook, and I remember when I was about at the end, I was so shocked that I would just be like this while listening. My boyfriend came in the room, and it was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I can talk. I can't." This is so well written. The characters, I love them so much. They were flawed, like hell. They were flawed, but they were so good. They were so well written. The plot, the atmosphere, the characters. This book was just a masterpiece in my mind. I think it's gonna be a thriller that I'm gonna think about, like Gone Girl has done for me. Like Gone Girl is it's my favorite thriller of all time, and The Death of Mrs. Westaway is a close second. Like, this is a book that I'm just gonna remember for a long time. This was amazing. At number 2, another book that I read in December, and it's one that I finished like December 31st. So yes. And that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Oh my god. I get it. I get it now. I get the hype. I just get it. This is amazing. Brandon Sanderson is just a master at magic system, fight scenes, character that are fleshed out. That book was so good. Made me cry, made me laugh, made me want to throw it across the room. I missed epic fantasy, and this is what I like in my epic fantasy. Okay, so thank you. And yeah, I can't wait to read the other 2 books. Like, they're gonna be as good, I'm sure, and I'm so excited. Before going to my number 1 favorite book of the year, I have 3 honorable mention. So my 3 honorable mention are nonfiction, just because I don't rate my nonfiction. That's a choice that I made, but yeah, I just don't rate them. So, but still I wanted to mention them because they were perfect in my eyes. So the first one is How to Be an Antaresis by Ibram X. Kendi. I read this 2 times this year. The first time that I read it, it was this summer, and after that I read it in December. And this book is my Bible, if you want to say, on anti-racism. This book is complete. Everything is there. It's a really, 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 really good book, and I urge everyone to read that book. It's really important book, and right now I don't have my copy because I lent it to one of my really good friends, and that's what I want to do with this book. I just want to, lend it to everyone so everyone can read it and put notes in it. And this book was amazing. This is a book that I'm gonna reread every year, or reread passage of every year. I know that. It's an amazing book. Read it. Next is Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer. This is about the animal industry and the food industry, specifically in the United States. This was crazy. I'm a vegetarian. It's been 5 years and a half that I've been a vegetarian, and I will never go back to eating meat. I'm just not. I don't miss it. This book depicts all the health and environmental issues with the animal food industry, and also how the animals are really treated. This was a really amazing book, really impactful. Even though I'm a vegetarian and I knew a lot of these facts, I learned so much more. And yeah, this was amazing. So I'm really glad that I read it. I'm probably gonna reread it in 2021. This was so good. And finally, my last honorable mention is Meurtrier sur Mesure by Jean-Claude Bernheim. This is a true crime. This is really important for me, this book, because I learned that I really love true crime in 2020 with this book, and also with a YouTube channel by Victor Charlton. She is a French-Canadian YouTuber, and she does videos on true crime and missing people, and just, it's a really good. If you do understand French and you want to learn more about true crime, I will leave her channel down below. But yeah, this is about a murder that happened here in Quebec, in the Val d'Or, in the north of Quebec to be more precise. And this is about how the police officers frame two innocent men for a murder that they didn't do. And they did 14 and 15 years in prison for something that they didn't do. And yeah, this is just like all the study and what happened. And this was amazing. I really love that. So this sparks my interest in true crime. So I'm really happy, really grateful for it. My number one favorite book of the year is a book that I do not own. I need to own it. And that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh my God. Historical fiction is my favorite book of the year? What? I'm shocked. This book, okay, I didn't understand the hype. Okay, I was like, okay, it's a historical fiction about a woman in Hollywood. Like, what's the big fuss about it? Because, in 2018, it was all over the place. It was everywhere. Okay, everyone was talking about that book, and I was just like, what is going on? What is all the fuss about? Like, I didn't get it. And then I read it, and I get it now. This is amazing. Okay, this is so good, so well written. Evelyn Hugo is not a great person. Okay, she's not. She's flawed. She knows that she's flawed. She's manipulative. She's selfish. But I love her. I want to protect her. I love her so much. I love her. I cried my eyes out so badly reading this book. Like, the ending, I was crushed. I was sobbing. Like, it happens that I would cry, like a tear, or like with Miss Bourne, I cried, but I was, pretty crying. But with this book, I was sobbing. My heart was broken in a million pieces, but in a good way. This book was absolutely incredible. It's a book I'm still thinking about, and it's a book I need to own. because first, the cover is absolutely beautiful, and because it's amazing. Okay, this book is just amazing. I don't know what to say. This book made me feel so many things. It's my number one. Yeah. So this is it, guys. This is my top 10 favorite books of 2020. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what is your top one favorite book of 2020, as I would like to know. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.